G'day Darkrealmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again today. And first off, I've got an apology, and I'm so sorry that there's been quite some time in between uploads. But the reason is I've been very busy creating my new novelette called Final Harvest. Now, I was invited to join a group called Electric Eclectic, which is a group of authors who produce, pardon me, some great short works, novelettes, and it's a great way for readers to try out a new author at a very inexpensive cost, because the books are only around £1 or $1 or $1.50 Australian. So I'll put a link down in the description box so you can go and check it out soon, and my novel will be there very, very shortly. Okay, Darkrealmers. Well, today we've got for you Halloween, I've got that on the brain, sorry. I've got Hellraiser Judgement for you, okay? And yeah, you may be interested about all the hype surrounding this one. Hey, if this is your first trip to the Diaries, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. And if you want some help in choosing the best books from the world of horror and the best movies, then you've come to the right place. Just hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. You'll always be up to date. Okay, Darkrealmers, does Hellraiser Judgement live up to what all the fans were hoping for? Well, I'll let you know, because we're going to get started right now. Yeah. Well, Darkrealmers, I'm an unashamed Clive Barker fan. I've read lots of his books, and when Hellraiser, the original Hellraiser, came out, I was just gobsmacked, which is a term that means awed, because I'd never ever seen creatures like this before. And like a lot of fans, I became a huge Pinhead fan. And over the years, the movie franchise has steadily declined. But one thing that was always consistent was that Doug Bradley played Pinhead. Well, he, quite rightly, after seeing this, he declined to participate in this movie, and I can understand why. So there was some controversy at first, that fans thought, no, I don't think it's going to be so good, okay? And there were lots of interviews and lots of theories about why Doug wouldn't play Pinhead. And I'll get more to that a bit later in the review, Darkrealmers. Well, this movie was written, directed and stars Gary I hope I pronounce this right, Tunnicliffe or Tunnicliffe, okay? And it starts off, we have someone strapped to a chair confessing, and the character of the Auditor, which is played by Gary, by the way, types up the confession. Now, the one part of this I really enjoyed was that there's a tube running from the person strapped down's arm to the typewriter, so his confessions are typed in blood. Nice touch. Then once it's all typed up, it's given to the adjudicator, and he actually eats this confession. Then he goes and he throws up into a dish, and from there into another room. It goes into a trough, and three naked women who are Cenobites cover themselves with it and make their decision whether the guy's guilty or innocent. Now, straight away, the problem I had with that, Darkrealmers, that even for me as a horror writer, I found that just gross for the sake of grossness, okay? I could understand it being to show to the audience the process these Cenobites were going to judge people, okay, and to decide they're guilty or whatever, because they've come to the human world basically looking for scumbags, okay, which sort of goes against the whole you've got to open the box type situation. And what I had trouble with was that the judges were just totally gross. The fact that they were naked, I think, was just for titillation value. Now, I can think of 100 different ways that could have been a lot scarier. You know, like a Cenobite whose hands are actually replaced with scales, okay? Much scarier. Anyway, Darkrealmers, that's our opening scene. Then we're taken to a police station where we've got two brothers, David and Sean Carter, and they're working on a case where someone is going around murdering people, and the press have given this murderer the name the Preceptor. Okay, now the problem I have with this Dark Realm is, okay, two brothers who are detectives, fine, I can accept that. Two brothers detectives working in the same police station, yeah. Two brothers, both detectives, working in a police station in the same office on the same case together, no, that just, to me, was just no, stretched it too far. Because look, I have no idea how real life, law enforcement situations work in that, but I would assume that someone high up in charge would have separated the brothers, because it involves too much controversy. One brother could help cover up corruption from the other brother and vice versa, so that didn't gel. Then throughout, we're constantly given outside establishing shots of the police station. Okay, we get it. It says police station across. We don't need that. Every single time there's a cut towards the detectives. Why can't they just go straight into their room where they're working on the case? Okay, next thing, we have a female detective who's come in to help the guys work on the case, and she's also there because one of the brothers, I think it's David, I can't remember, Darkrealmers, I think it is being investigated by the corruption board, or the investigation, and also to see if mentally there's something wrong with him. Okay, so the first thing I got with all these murders, this is almost like Seven. It's almost exactly like Seven. There are murders carried out in a horrible way that all have some sort of significance, all sort of some sort of judgment. So the majority of the movie's taken up with that. And then when the brother goes to this house and starts having his crimes all done, he manages to escape. Now, throughout this, we barely get to see Pinhead. He just, the Auditor goes and chats a few lines to him and goes back. And to me, it was very egotistical. For Gary Tunnicliffe to, I can understand writing and directing, but to give himself the lion's share when he knows full well that fans want Pinhead. He is the central character. He makes or breaks the franchise or the movie itself. Now, I found that really, really egotistical. Now, I like the character of the Auditor, but it was almost like, Pinhead's irrelevant. And when we do see him, he's sitting in a throne, like, just a few shots, there you go. So that's the problem I had with that. Gary decided that his character that he created was going to be the focal point. And now you can understand, Darkrealmers, why Doug Bradley wasn't so keen on playing second fiddle. And who can blame him, And we do get to see other Cenobites too. But one of the things that he's done, which has gone strictly against canon, was the introduction of an angel and how it's all tied up with heaven and hell. No. It clearly states that the Cenobites don't, worship God, or they don't fear God because their God is Leviathan. And we see that in the second movie. So he's just wiped that out, and that would have annoyed most fans, and I was annoyed too. Because it's basically, look, this is my movie, I'll write what I want, you just accept it. And I was really, really upset about that. Now, it does have some good parts in it, but really and truly, to be called a Hellraiser in the franchise is, I think, stretching it, because it mainly deals with, as I said, these crimes that are being committed, and the sort of unravelling of it, and finding out who the actual murder was, and you know, surprise, surprise, there's supposed to be a twist, but it's not really. Darkrealmers, okay. Now, every director, everyone who's been involved with the Hellraisers, virtually, you know, from 3 or 4 onwards, have said this movie, the next movie, will bring the franchise back to its glory, you will love it, and they've all let the fans down bitterly. And I'm afraid this is no exception, Darkrealmers. You know, I've got to give points to the actor who took over and played Pinhead, even though he didn't have a great, you know, amount to do. He did do his lines convincingly and with that authority and with that dark presence. But it's Doug Bradley. He is Pinhead. Now, I always like checking to make sure I'm not being just too harsh on a movie, okay? And I went to the International Movie Database, and almost universally, all the reviews I read, which were over, you know, 60, 70 reviews, all gave the movie 1 star. And I've been on a few chat rooms, found a horror group in Animo, and I posed the question, do you think there'll be another Hellraiser movie? And someone wrote back and said, look, the movie bombed. It's very unlikely they'll give Gary Tunnicliffe, you know, the green light to make another one. So I really, really hope, and I think fans should really get a petition going and write to Clive Barker and say, please, please, can you write a script for us? Can you please, you know, pen something? We know you've written a book which goes into depth about the Cenobites and their world and their creation and everything. Fantastic, you know, we'll all gobble that up. But could you please, you're the only one who can do it, you know. So there you go, Darkrealmers. I know that sounds really harsh, and as I said, I could tell you a lot more about the movie, but it will involve spoilers, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, because I hope, if you're a Hellraiser fan, go to it, but don't expect too much. And if you haven't, just casually been a viewer of the Hellraiser series, watch it for yourself and just let me know what you think of it. Now, it's available on streaming services, and you can get it on Blu-ray and DVD. Now, personally, I once upon a time collected all the Hellraiser movies, but apart from 1 and 2, occasionally 3, I didn't watch them often, and so I stopped collecting them. So I would, my recommendation, Darkrealmers, is rent this one, okay? Yeah, it may cost you $3 or $4 or whatever, but it's better than having a DVD that you're barely going to watch sitting in your collection, okay, Darkrealmers? So that's it, from one Hellraiser fan to you. Let me know what you thought of the movie, okay, if you've seen it. If you'd like to see Doug Bradley back, and someone, convince Doug that the next movie will be a stellar performance, you know, in terms of what the next movie may deliver, let me know also, because I'd love to know your thoughts. Alright, Darkrealmers, well, that's it from me, horror writer and author Michael J. Elliott. I hope you've enjoyed my review of Hellraiser Judgement, and as I said, love hearing your comments, love chatting to you all, so please leave comments for me. And as I said, if you're going to watch movies about Cenobites, make sure you've got the lounge room light on. Okay, bye for now, darling.